Today is Monday, Parashah Devarim. Parashah Devarim is always read the Shabbat before Tisha B'Av. We're now during the period of the 9 days that we're restricted from listening to music, drinking wine, eating meat. And this is for mourning for the destruction of the temple. And the reason that is brought in the Gemara for the destruction of the temple in Masechet Yomai, it says because of sinat hinam, because of hatred in vain. People had hatred for each other in vain for no reason. That's the reason why the Beit Mikdash was destroyed. In Masechet Baba Metzia, it gives another reason. The reason that is given, that they did not act lifnim mishurat adin. In other words, they were very strict based on what's coming to me is coming to me. They were not forgiving to each other. They were not tolerant to each other. If somebody had caused any harm to someone, the person would bring him to judgment for it. They would be very strict about what is coming to me, and not to forgive, not to give any inch, any rope to the other person. So you could say these are different reasons. No, they're actually one and the same. Because nobody hates anyone in vain for no reason. There is always a reason why you harbor ill feelings towards someone. He spoke to you improperly, he offended you, he harmed you financially, to whatever the reason. And sometimes they're very, very small reasons that should be totally overlooked. Yet people are very strict with each other. And that's what brings hatred in vain, because many reasons for having ill feelings towards another person are reasons that could be totally forgiven and overlooked and not taken to heart. So it's the same reason. They were too strict with each other and they were not forgiving to each other. We see that the Parashah of this week, in a way, mentions the same concept. Moshe Rabbeinu says, Echa esa levadi, torachachem u'masa'achem verivchem. Echa, which is the word that is used for also the scroll of Lamentations, Megillat Echa, that we read on Tisha B'Av, the same word is used here. Echa is, how could I carry levadi, alone, torachachem, your bother, masa'achem, your loads, or your troubles and your bickering, as if Moshe Rabbeinu is saying, how can I carry all your bickering with each other, all your troubles, or you're carrying your load? In other words, how can I carry that? And Rashi explains. Rashi says, if somebody would see that, if they, let's say they had a court case, and somebody sees that the other person was going to win. In other words, he would find other witnesses, he would find more proofs, he would not give in any way. He would be so strong in his position, not willing to compromise in any way. So that's Moshe Rabbeinu says, how can I carry all these ideas of you being so strict and not compromising and not forgiving each other? U'masa'achem. And he says, what is masa'achem, carrying your load? How is it? And Rashi explains, if Moshe Rabbeinu left early in the morning, they say, why did he leave early? Maybe he's got some problems at home with his wife. If he went out later in the morning, they say, why did he go so late out of his house? Maybe he's conniving and making all sorts of bad ideas, all sorts of things. In other words, they found reason to always assume the worst about the other person, or finding ways to judge him, to be suspicious of him for all sorts of things. Verivchem and Amet Sharomim, they were also bickering. So this is the type of things that brought about the Churban Beit HaMikdash. And Sur Merav Asetov, we have to stay away from this type of approach and always find ways to be tolerant towards others, to be patient towards others, to be willing to compromise, not to stick to your position and not be willing to bend in any way. That's not what can bring Mashiach. What will bring Mashiach is to be kind to each other, to be willing to accept whatever and to embrace whatever situation there is. And if somebody offended you or said something wrong, be willing to forgive and to even overlook what it was. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen.